back with
Woohoo. What are we back with, Kara? Woo!
Onyx Storm. I
You
love
got the
the
pretty
edges.
one. See, I purchased all of mine on Kindle because I want them right here, right now. I wasn't gonna wait, and during the time, I just did not have time to run out and go to the store, when these came out because my car
Mhm.
wasn't working, number one. And number two, even if I was doing like Instacart or something, I wasn't gonna trust that someone could get it
Get
for me.
that. Yeah. I learned something new.
Huh.
If you have a Kindle, right, and you pre-order that physical book, you get the book on Kindle for free.
Oh, right.
Because remember, I was like,
Yeah.
I pre-ordered the book. I knew it wasn't going to be here the day it released. I knew I
Mhm.
was going to have to wait. I go and I look on KU and it's like, read now. I didn't have to pay for it. People were like, I had to pay for it. But if you already have the book pre-ordered, you don't have to pay for it. So like, I just got Scythe and Sparrow.
Mhm. Scythe and Sparrow. All the way at the top. Can't
Oh,
see.
she's on that
Yeah.
smut shelf up there. Um, but like I got it on KU. It just said like read now. Now I don't know if it's already on KU, but again, so
It should
anyways,
be.
Onyx
I don't have
Storm,
my Kindle on me.
Rebecca Yarros
Yep.
again. This was a great one. It was
Yeah.
great. It
Little
was probably
confusing at first, but you got to hang in there. You got to get through it because yeah, I think it was good. Now, I've heard different reviews where people are just like I there was just so much building going on, blah 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 blah.
it
And it's like, but that's
was
how her books are, and for how they're still. I want to say it's supposed to be a series of five, so we still have two more books coming.
more. Yeah, and honestly, like I felt that way with like Fourth Wing and Iron Flame at the beginning of the
Hmm.
book. So I was still kind of like, what, who, where, huh, where?
Hmm.
But by the time you are like halfway into the book, you're like, okay, like
Yeah,
I know what's going on. Like this was my favorite of the three,
it
personally.
was good. I want to say it was a lot more intense.
Mm-hmm.
Now the whole situation with Violet and Zayden, I feel like some of it was kind of dragged out, but also
Yeah,
kind of needed, for what he's going through. Because if you remember in Iron Flame, we find out, oh, he's
he's
Venom.
Venom.
He's
Yeah,
turning, and there's different
so
stages of Venom.
yeah, and so like he doesn't want to be intimate, right? Because he doesn't
Hmm.
want to hurt her. He wants to kind of like stay away and like deal with his feelings. And so
Hmm.
like it does feel like it's drug out, but like I feel like it's very important considering the way the book ended.
Yes.
And like at first like reading I'm like, okay, like get over it, dude. Like
Yeah.
we're counting the days, like get over
Yeah.
it. But by the end, I was like, okay.
Because this whole time they're trying to one have to deal with, yes, the wards are back up. They got that going.
Mhm.
They are still trying to come to agreement with what's going on with Arisha and
And they're
the
looking for
Griffin Riders
that
and
seventh,
yeah.
which is like really what that whole book is about to me is
Yep.
like the search for the seventh breed. Because like we need to find that to fix the wards,
Yeah.
right? So like it's crazy. Like you start it and you're like, bitch, could you have recapped the
Yeah.
other two books? Because like
It pops right off. You're just like, what is happening? Like they're trying to get together with the classes in the college, and now they're having the writers in with them, the
yeah,
Griffin
it's
writers,
hacked.
and they have to just kind of be on this track of being good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard because they know what's going on. Not everything's being told to everybody else. Like it's that whole situation again. So it does get
It's an
confusing.
actual shit show.
Yeah. But and now
It's
we're
an
going out
actual
to the Isles
yes,
trying
which
to
was like
find Andarna's family.
yes, because we discover like she's technically the seventh kind, right?
Yeah.
Like so we need to go find her family, but Yeah, so we do like this like island hop, which again makes things confusing.
Yeah.
Cause
Because these islands, they don't have magic.
yeah, and like she's throwing like these island names at you, and you're meeting people on the islands, and you're meeting
And like she has
names.
a map, you know, in the beginning of
Yes,
the book, but it's like you don't have these islands because they were never recorded
recorded.
in
Yeah.
like in that way. There's only some that were, but they have to go farther.
Yes, they need to check like every single freaking island.
Hmm.
But like we get other characters that come in like
We
with
get
the wyvern.
we
We
get
get
called in finally, and he comes into what is it, battle brief, and he comes in Violet's like, oh God, because like they used to
she
date, but he's an asshole and he cheated on her. Like
she
she
knows
walked
who.
in on them cheating in like
Yes.
a professor's office.
Yes, I'm like, it was very discreet. I was like, oh girl, like I'm glad you
Yeah.
left because
Yes, but I
no.
love it because like also Zayden is now, because of turning Venom, he is having such a hard time with control. And we all know like his control is everything to him.
Hmm.
And now he's like raging. He rages at Garrett, at
Yeah,
Bodhi. If
like for
anything
no
happens with
reason.
Violet, it's like he just goes whoop to a
And they
hundred.
don't know what's going on. Like only Violet and Brennan know.
Well, and
And
Bodhi and Garrett, because those are the two that like are the
okay.
closest to him. But nobody
Yeah,
else knows. They're keeping it a secret.
they do tell the quest squad at the
Yeah.
end.
The Riddick's
Um
Quest Squad.
dude, it was great.
Riddick in this book. Oh my god! Because
Great.
he gets so pissed off. They all do, honestly, in Iron Flame when like they finally tell him, they're like, "Why did you lie to us? Like we are your
Mhm.
squad. We are your family.
Like
We
we're
know
your
this."
family.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then in this one, like she's trying to make up for that. She's telling him everything, but that is the one thing she will not tell because it's not really hers to tell.
Mm-mm.
It's on That's on Zayden. So so now Riddick's like, I'm gonna be here. I'm getting involved, doing all of this.
All of
I
it.
love it so much. And like throughout this whole book, like Jack is still there too, but he's kept it locked up. Thank God.
He is
Right? But like he's
at bay, being like
yeah,
tested essentially.
they're only keeping him alive long enough to like try to get information because he has nothing
Yeah.
to suck from the magic.
Yes. Correct.
So I loved seeing him in pain.
I yeah. It's there was a lot of character growth in these
Oh
books for
yeah.
me.
When we get
Like
Sloane, we didn't talk about Sloane in Iron Flame. Sloane is
oh
Liam's
yeah.
sister, and she
And
is pissed at Violet.
yeah, in Iron and Flame, she like absolutely hates Violet, but in Onyx Storm, she starts to like come around
Hmm.
and kind of I think she sees why Liam
Yeah.
felt that way about her.
Also,
Like
come
as
around to Dane.
yeah, like Dane also had like a serious,
Hmm.
serious like character growth, like his loyalty, like the
Yeah.
jokingness, like it
Trying to
was
get that
great.
camaraderie back with Violet to be like, look,
Yeah,
yes, I fucked up, but come
yeah.
on,
We can keep this.
we can
We
keep
should
going.
we should note that Halden is Aric's older brother.
Yes,
And
he's
so
the
when he
king of
shows
the
up,
beast.
they're like, hide him. Like, if he sees your eyes, like, we
Yeah.
gotta, like, no. Um, oh, we also learned that Xaden has a second signet.
Yes.
And then we also reveal, like, learn in this book that Garrick has a
Yep.
second signet.
Which
He let him,
comes,
like,
comes into
it comes
handy at the
into
end of the book.
huge play. Yeah. Um, I do wonder. Okay, so like, because a lot of shit happens, right? Like,
Yeah.
Xaden is now like the Duke of Tyrender.
Yeah. I say Tyrandor, but I don't know if that's right.
I don't know either.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, because Bodhi's his cousin, he would like step in if anything
Hmm.
happened to Xaden.
But
But like,
Bodhi does not want that.
no, and I wonder why, and I wonder, does Bodhi also have a second signet?
I
Wild
think
theory, but I think he's got a second signet.
Same, because this is also okay. So brief overcap. Leading off from Iron Flame, we know Zayden is a Venom. They're trying to hide that, but they're also trying to figure out like how are we going to find Andarna's family.
Kind.
That's the whole
Yes.
thing there. They have to go to these different isles. The farther out they go, the farther there's no magic until they get to this one island. We'll get there.
Hmm.
The funniest freaking thing about going out to these islands, though, is the fact that Holden doesn't have like a dragon. And so he has to be carried in a
In a basket.
basket by one of the griffins.
A little wicker basket.
Died. Like,
The imagery for that was
oh,
so good.
and he hates it.
It was so great.
Yes.
But yeah, 'cause they were being like told by the like sanitarium or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that like they needed certain people to go with them, and Darna and Violet are very much like, no, I
No.
want the Quest Squad.
Yeah, like they
So
had their
that's a whole ass thing that like don't really want to like get
no.
into personally, because like the Quest Squad was better, right? Like because you've
Yeah.
got like Garrick, you've got Bodhi, like Imogen's out there,
Yep.
Kat's out there, Dane, Violet, obviously,
And
Zayden,
the whole
Sloane's
thing
out
with
there.
the whole thing with Dane too, because the only reason Dane was coming along was to like be a translator, and then the whole time Eric could
Hey,
do it.
the whole time.
He's like,
Like just
why am I
watch
here?
he's like just watching Dane struggle, like
Oh,
sucks to be you.
on one of these islands, so they get to the island, there's no magic, right? Well, that also means like they can't communicate with their dragons, they can't get their signets, but Zayden doesn't have to worry about his control. So
Roll.
obviously they can hook up, they can get to that
Hmm.
part.
There was
Funniest,
more spice in this book, as a
yes.
note.
And they're like, that's the whole thing on TikTok too of like people trying to be like, how did they get on the chair? How did he slide down? Like,
I saw some lady like lay it
yes.
out for me, and I was like, that's hot.
Ooh, yes. I think it's
Like
so funny that people were going on about that. I was like, thank you.
the shadows,
Yes.
okay? They were holding her, they were
Oh,
touching her, they were she
yes.
was speaking to her. But yeah,
But
they could still talk to their dragons.
yes.
Nobody else could
No,
except
no,
for
no, no.
Zayden and
Zayden couldn't.
oh,
Only
just
Violet.
Violet. Yeah.
Okay,
And
Keelan,
that's
though.
like that was weird to me. I was because they
Yes.
don't really like answer that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why. And I don't know if it's because Taryn's strongest or what the theory is with that. We have to look into that because
I
I
don't
don't even
know. We're
know.
open. We're open to your theories. Leave a comment with your
Yeah.
theory.
I just think the
Uh,
one of the funniest things is when they had to go in and get the extra books, like there was something left from that bookstore. And like she had to answer those questions, but also that
yes.
like older lady, because it was Dane. I don't think Zayden was there.
No.
No, he wasn't there at that one.
I
But it was Dane and like Mira and whatnot. And then they go and she's like, oh, this must be uh was it no, Zayden was there. Because she's looking at Zayden like, oh, this must be Dane who you dad's talked about. And they're like, Mira's cracking
oh
up.
yeah.
Like,
Everybody's like
no.
laughing. Dude, and that's what I'm saying. Like the growth, because even Dane is like,
Yeah. He's like,
I,
nope, nope, nope.
but not like an ass about it. Like
No.
you
He's like, I'm gonna
had
die. Zayden's gonna kill me.
yes.
Well, and the
I
fact
want
that
to
then
just
they have Zayden went off. He's like, I need to go to a different shop. Takes Dane, and then we come to find out he took Dane to go get lingerie for Violet to translate. Golden, golden.
I was like, great that
Isn't it
y'all are
funny?
bonding. Also, savage move, Zayden. I
Yes,
like it.
yes,
Tell him that's your girl.
yes,
Sloane, we learn, is a siphon.
yeah.
And
Because that's what
after
she did in Fourth Wing
to
with Mom.
kill, yeah,
Had to take that
Violet's
power.
mom. So now she's all like afraid. But like, so yeah, you've got like Felix, like there's all these other
Yeah,
characters that come in, and it's just it gets a little bit out of control. But like My favorite was when I don't know which island it was. I believe, yeah, Halden was there, but it was like they were meeting one of the kings, and
Savage.
dude, savage. Like his assistant's head's like on a platter, and like the body's like
And
laid out on a table.
what were they, leopards or something?
Yes, and just like "Da, da, 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 da." And then Andarna comes in and she picks him up in her mouth and she's like, "I'm drooling."
It's like,
Dude,
can
she's
I squeeze it yet?
such a sass hole this
Yes.
whole book. And Taryn the whole time was like,
Ugh.
"Tea, adolescence. Shut up." Like it's just
Such
so great. And she'll be like, "I don't want to." And
just
like,
so like dad energy where he's so over it with a teenage
yes,
daughter.
like I'm
Oh, it had
over
me
your
laughing
shit.
so much. It was
Over your
so good, but like
shit, girl.
that one was good because Holden was pissing me off, and Violet's like, "Well, you stop."
You knock it off. But that was
Yep.
a great scene. And then she had to like fight the queen.
Which was great because she didn't even realize. But like
She didn't even
those are
know it was
bringing
the
up like
queen.
theories because that was the
Yes.
island with like they all had the same hair as Violet, and like
Yes. And I
what
was
was
like,
going on. And the
why
fact
are
that I do think that Violet used her signet without magic.
oh, I do too. I with the crack in the yeah, I think she did too,
Yeah,
but I was upset that we didn't ever go back to the other people with the silver hair there. Are
I
we
have a
gonna go
feeling like
back to
we
that?
may we
We
may in the
have
next book
to
because like there's
because I got questions.
yes
And
yes
this bitch was badass. Like again, that mountain had been standing for like hundreds of years before they came, or that
yeah
stadium. So
yeah
that
well
was fun.
and then like what was it? Then they go to the one island where there's like enough magic so everyone can still talk to their
Yes, the
dragons and everything like
dragons.
that. But like that whole game, like everyone was excited that they were there. Like they knew they were coming. They weren't afraid of the dragons or the griffins.
They're
And
all
then like
outside just like cheering, like, woo.
Zenal was the god, and they're
Yeah.
like, okay, now here's your gift. And it's like you have to pull a card, and whatever that card is, you get. So like Zayden got an empty box,
Yeah, they all
clear
got
box.
like one.
Violet got a broken compass. But I
Yes.
think that's gonna come into play in the next book. I do.
These gifts have to come into play.
And then we get Broccoli, who is just here's a cat. Here's an
Here's a
orange
cat.
cat. And he's like, great, thank you. Like Garrick. Like, okay. And then what is it?
Garrick, what did, oh no, it was Riddick that gets kissed by the guy on the cheek and Dane gets smacked and
Bitch.
like again like they can't like react
Oh
so they're
yeah.
all like thank you because
Thank you.
Zanal is the god of luck like
Yeah.
so like each island like prays to a different god or they like put one god higher than like
Hmm.
another. So there's like Amari, the goddess of
Yeah.
gods, Malik, the god of death, Zanal, god of luck, Dune, goddess of war, which comes into play,
Yep.
and like Hedion was the
Yeah.
god of wisdom.
Yeah. So
But
but like
like
in
those start to stack up too, and then I'm like, what's going on with the gods, especially Dune?
yeah, because moving forward. Yeah. And then, like also was Zenal. Someone if I forget his name, but he pulls an arrow. And then yeah, he just like gets shot.
Yeah.
Gets shot, dead,
Yep.
dead like instantly. There goes his dragon.
That's
That
like
and like
all
of
of
course they
it done.
can't make a reaction. And then Violet, since she's like the leader of all of this, like has to be like, thank you. I was like,
Yeah, like
oh,
thanks.
that
Thank
sucked. And that's who Cat was like finally like that dude
half
was
the thing
wanting Cat
when
so hard. They finally got together and then boop, dead.
my
That was sad. I kind of cried a little bit. I was like, oh my god, like he's not a main character, but it was like just that fact of like, and then he's dead.
yes. That like and like she was finally having a
Mm,
bond and she was like such like this like hard exterior. Like it was really
yes.
nice to see her start to like laugh or I guess imagine her like laughing and
Yeah.
like smiling with him and okay, so like we talked about some of the islands because this book is crazy because they go to the islands and then like well they do one trip and then they come back to the
Yep.
war college and then
Oh,
they go out with the quest squad.
what about the quick about the islands? What about that specific one? Where, oh, hey, mommy dearest.
Yeah, so at the island where they meet Andarna's family, isn't that the same one?
No, no, no. That one was different. That was like a random island
Okay.
that they had to touch down on.
But yeah, oh, it was one that there was the one that they were all thanking, like all like cheering
No,
and
no, 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 no. That wasn't,
whatnot.
that was Zenal. This one was the other guy that they had to try to like convince.
Oh, that's right, because the dinner. Okay,
It was,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it wasn't the one with the leopards. It was the other
the
island where he
one,
goes in
yes,
and they're all greeting him, and
yes.
and then here comes mommy, and
Mom, like
yeah,
Zayden's
Zane's
mom
like,
walks
mom.
out.
We're like, what? Coming to be like,
Huh?
so we learned more about that backstory, and but we didn't really find out like why she left, but like
Other than she was
whatever.
like, I had to, and it was like,
But
girl,
that whole dinner scene, like they tried to convince her to come to dinner, they finally did, and then her stepdaddy, I guess I'll say, his stepdaddy, like
poisoned
start.
everybody.
Well, no, no, wanted to, but only
Yes,
Derek ate the damn chocolate cake.
yeah,
So had to go in and find that, and that's where I thought we were gonna lose Riddick, and I was gonna be pissed.
dude. The and we were reading together at that
Yeah,
point, and like that fight scene, I thought we were gonna lose Riddick,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like, I hate sewing.
We just
And I
got,
was like, yes, my
well, like you
man.
could feel Violet's like
So
anxiety. I'm like,
panicked.
I
I
have
was
the
like,
same feeling.
I know, I'm freaking out, girl. But yeah, like they tried to, because it was some sort of like test
Yeah,
of,
for knowledge. That was the knowledge one.
yeah, like knowledge was like a piece, and
Yep.
it was just like that was so
Well,
fucked up in my opinion. And
yeah.
Violet ended up being like, well, joke's on y'all, because I poisoned you, and you should start puking
And they're
here.
all
And
just like,
like,
bleh.
oh, kicked in a little sooner than I thought. My bad. Like,
Yep. Like if you want the antidote, then you can do this. So like, mommy's over on the floor crying. The other dude's just like constantly throwing up until he passed out. And the king or
ah.
whatever, she's like, I'm not gonna do this. Blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, you are.
Yes, you will, because
Yeah.
so they get to their last island, and Darna does find her family. And this girl is so stoked.
She's so excited.
Like, and these dragons are different. They were like full on invisible. Like
Yeah.
full on invisible. Like they were
Camouflage.
breathing on Violet, and she's like, there's nothing there but like air.
Yeah.
Like, and so like that was crazy.
But then they're like that screeching whistle noise, and they could talk
Yes.
to the other people.
Yeah, they can talk to anybody, which like
Yeah.
that's different than their dragons, and they like do this like high pitched like
Alien.
whistle to like get your attention or before they like block you out
No,
almost.
because it
And
was
it's like,
just Riddick and Violet. Because before that, before they even showed up, Riddick's over here getting sassy with
yes.
oh, what's his dragon's name?
Riddick's dragon.
Yeah,
Uh, it's like eight. I can't say it. It's like Atrum.
Atrum. Yeah, because like Atrum's over here like splashing him with water, and they're just the because you only hear
Their
Riddick's side, but
banter.
they're just going back and forth like, what are you doing? I have a
Yeah.
pair of boots. Stop
Yeah,
it. Just
don't
because
get
you're
me wet.
mad about all this, what I did to you last. I'm like, they just prank hardcore, which I
It
find
was
so funny.
awesome. I was like, it's adorable. But it was cute when Andarna like is telling her story to these, her kind, and they're like, "What did you do to your tail?"
ESPs.
Nummies.
Okay, go
Or
sit down.
like, "What'd you do to your tail? Why would
Yeah.
you like bond with her as like a young, like, why,
That
why?"
that whole scene pissed me off because it's like
I
we left you
was
there for change. And it's like, and what everybody else was saying too was like, how was she supposed to know? You left her as an egg, as a hatchling.
she
No
had
one else
no
was there.
idea. No
Like this is how
idea.
she was gonna be raised.
Mm-hmm. Taryn was even like upset by the interaction,
Oh yeah.
like watching, and so were the other dragons. And it was just like, it was sweet. It's like she's telling this like campfire story, and she's like, and then I froze time and
And then
I
I did
saved
this.
her. And they're like, you did what? But
Yeah.
like, she's so giddy about it. And she's like,
Yeah.
and then I saved him, and now I've been looking for you guys, and now I'm here. And they're basically like, we're not
The,
going to take you.
yeah.
I was like, are you
Hmm.
kidding me?
And it was only
No
like
pun
two.
intended on broccoli.
There's only those two dragons that were kind of like, okay, but they ended up leaving as well. And it was like,
Yeah, and like I can't remember like their names because
mm-mm,
again there was like so
so many.
many of them, but like like if I were to see it I'd be like, yeah, that's his name. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was one specific one that was like at least questioning and being
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you didn't know," to Violet, and she was like, "No, I never like if
No.
I would have known, I wouldn't have done
Done this.
that."
Yeah.
So they go back, like their mission's essentially done, right?
Yeah.
They did what they needed to do. The wards fall. Shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
I mean, like cities are crumbling. They are in full on war. Um, and it like the end of the book's almost like a blur for me
Well,
because
those
it
last
was
100 pages, and even Rebecca said in an interview, like, what is one thing that you could reread, like specific or what'd she say, specific section, um,
again,
that you should reread to like give clues
I
for
can
what's
see
happening
why.
next. And she's like, literally, the last 100 pages focus on
Yeah.
who is not there.
Yeah, and like I should go back and like reread because
Mhm.
so much happens. Like it is,
Well, it's when we
it's
find
like,
out that Eric, he can see like the outcomes of things,
yeah,
and
like
that's
he
why he
can
kept bringing certain things up of like, go
like
down this
go to the
route.
dune, like
Yeah, you
go
want to
to,
go
and she's like,
here.
I'm not supposed to go there. And he's like,
Yeah,
I'm telling
telling
you
you.
to go. And she doesn't understand why. And like she ends up getting there, right?
Yeah,
But again, it's like I could literally go back and reread that book and probably be like, holy shit, there was so much that I didn't catch. Because
yeah,
there at the end with the Temple of Dune, she ends up like realizing that the blade that Eric gave her maybe has the stone from the
yeah.
Temple of Dune in it. And like this whole book, she's also running from Theophany or
Ugh.
Theo, as we call her.
Yep.
Um, oh, we learned Violet has a second signet
Signet.
too.
Yeah, Dreamwalker.
She's a dream walker. She doesn't even know she's doing it. She's just
Yeah.
been walking into Zayden's dreams at night. Um, but yeah, so Theophany's after her and she ends up like coming, battle to battle at the
Yeah.
end. And
Well, that whole point too. It's like those two dragons with Andarna is like, we'll take you. Like you have to like drop everything, go, and then Andarna's
yes,
just like ha, 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 leaves. I about cried
yes.
because she's like,
I
oh
was
no.
upset when she left.
Yeah, it's like Violet understood, but it was so heartbreaking. But
Yeah.
then the Temple of Dune, the Dune fight or whatever. Oh, who's back? Andarna.
And Darna and one of
The main, like the main dude dragon that was like
yeah, that
okay
was
with
like
her.
sticking up for her.
Yeah,
So
because he was like,
it's
I see what you guys are going through, and this is we're here to help.
yes. So a lot of like wild shit happens at the end. And these are spoilers because like they always are.
Yep,
But so like Violet ends up killing Theophany,
yep,
right? But before that, like Quinn dies in final
yeah,
battle. Marin's fucking throat gets slit
yep.
before that, and Brennan can't heal her.
No,
So they use Sloane as a siphon from Dane, Sloane to Brennan, essentially,
yep.
right?
I think so.
Yeah, to like help give enough power to bring Mira back, because like it sounded like her head was like
Yeah,
not all the way there.
yeah.
Zayden is like full on
Losing control.
Venom now. Well,
No, he's
like,
not full. Yeah, well, we don't know if he's full on Venom. We just know that he lost control again.
well, he had to channel to protect Sagail.
Yeah,
And after that, it was like,
and Violet because he knew he could when we see
uh-huh.
that POV. So yeah, but like, is he full on Venom or like how much? Like, what is?
I think
What
he's
are the
full
steps
on
here?
him.
I don't.
I
Yeah,
I think he's full on.
and like Garrick is going back and forth, time walking, or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
and he's just like missing at the end of the book.
yeah. Well, Eric is missing. Bodhi, Garrick, Zayden, and then
Hmm.
yeah. So like end of the book is
You're like,
she like Violet's back. Everything kind of past the war a little bit. Wakes up and it's like, where is Zayden? And then
yeah, she like wakes
notices.
up in the courtyard, doesn't
Yeah,
she? Yeah, like okay.
I think so. Yeah, kind of like wakes up and like has a note from
Hmm.
like Zayden of like, I love you, don't find me, don't come after me or
Yes.
whatever. But then, oh, rock on her finger that looks exactly like the stone from the blade.
And she's like,
What is
we're
happening? Like,
married?
why am I missing 12 hours?
Because we even get like somebody comes out and like hands her like a sealed note
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah. Imogen did. And that's why she's
yeah,
like, why am I missing 12 hours? And it registers because that's what Imogen did in one of the last books. And so she looks at her like, what did you do? And she's like, what you told me to. And then book's done.
we're like, what did you do? And that's why you see people on the internet and they're like, I'm missing pages.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah,
No, it's another freaking
Rebecca's just
cliffhanger.
mean.
Yeah. So now she's not just a cadet, like she's the Duchess of Terrandor
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, that means that's a rock. That's a rock. So
I'm a
y'all
rock girl. And
got
she's got
married. Either you
two
got married or you're
powerful
engaged, but
sons.
I have a feeling that they're married.
I think they are
Because
too.
like how else like I leave this to you, like she's gonna
I
have a
saw theories
say.
that she was pregnant, and I was like, I don't know about that. I do think that they're married. I think, given her like powers, he was like, I got to wife
Yeah.
you up.
But see,
Like,
like that got me thinking too of like her powers. She can dream walk. She's going to be able to find Zayden in their dreams. I just
mm-hmm.
know it.
Yep. But it's like she can't
Uh-uh.
control whose dream she gets into, so that's also like wild for me as well. I'm like, well, how do we like, but how do you
Yeah.
like direct whose dream you want to go
I
into?
think that's
But
I have to make it stronger. That's how she's gonna make the Sidnick stronger of being like she's gonna have to like focus.
hmm. Yeah, I this was my favorite of the three books. Like
Mm,
all three are great. Like don't get me wrong.
yeah.
All three are great, but this was my favorite. I'm gonna go back and reread the last
Oh, for
100
sure.
pages and then maybe we'll have like a theory episode.
Ooh, yeah, because I've saved a few where it's
Okay.
like, oh, like the whole Jack Barlow being Violet
Okay.
like step
Possible
sibling or
step
something, or like
sibling.
half
Yeah.
sibling. Yeah, that one threw
So
me for a loop.
once we reread those last 100 pages, we'll do an episode on like some of our theories that we have.
Yeah,
So,
take a
but
look
we
at it.
have
We're
a
gonna get there.
few books lined up
Yeah.
to get set out. We're gonna do like Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, because Scythe and Sparrow just came out. Um, we'll do God of Malice, book one. We got quite a few. Well, we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.